I'm Ann Trujillo with your Denver 7 update. There are new developments in a 39-year-old cold case near Breckenridge. Police arrested 70-year-old Alan Phillips last week as a suspect in the killing of Annette Schnee and Bobby Joe Oberholzer. Both were hitchhikers and went missing on January 6, 1982. Denver 7 spoke with Annette's mom on what an arrest means after all these years.
I thought there'd be no closure. I thought maybe I'd be gone before I had closure to this case. So that really, I'm ready to go when it's time now. I know.
Wednesday afternoon, police gave more details about the arrest, saying they were able to connect Phillips to the crime scenes using DNA in genealogy databases. He was finally arrested last week. A woman recently found shot to death in Denver was expected to provide key testimony against Dante Lucas in his ongoing murder trial in Pueblo. Prosecutors tell Denver 7 that Roxanne Martinez was going to take the stand and say that Lucas admitted to killing Kelsey Schelling. Well, police told us they do not believe Martinez was murdered because of the trial. Martinez's cousin isn't so sure. At the very least, he believes the DA should have done more to keep a witness safe.
My cousin was the witness right there. Where is witness protection? Why didn't our DA down here in Pueblo have protection for her when he knew she was an endorsed witness?
Police have not said if there's a suspect in Martinez's murder, and the prosecution is expected to rest in Lucas's trial by Friday. It has largely fallen to public health departments to enforce restrictions brought on by the pandemic, and for that, they've been rewarded with threats, vandalism, and worse. And now, lawmakers are trying to ensure the people protecting us are protected as well. Here is Megan Lopez.
Public health, we make sure that your air is healthy, your water is healthy.
It's truly a service working in public health, a job in a department that before COVID, most people didn't pay attention to. But when the pandemic hit,
I think we went from kind of quietly being in the background to being in the foreground, and a lot of which made people quite unhappy.
As the public health orders stretched from a week to a month to a year, a public display of anger.
This great suppression, as I call it, is illegitimate.
But then the protests became something more.
We've had people's dogs poisoned, someone's emergency brake cable was cut.
Across the state, the stories are similar and similarly scary.
We have had, threats and intimidation made to our staff over social media.
Leanne Jolin from San Juan Basin Public Health had people show up at her house.
I did hear noises outside my front door, looked out the window and saw about 20 protesters.
In Tri-County,
we had vandalism at one of our offices and like 6 times and had to close it down. And we had a firebombing threat at our administrative office.
It had to close its offices for 40 plus days due to threats.
We hired armed security. It's both frustrating and disheartening.
The stories go on and on.
They've seen a lot of threats for doing what is simply their jobs and just trying to protect public health.
The Colorado Association of Local Health Officials did a poll and say 80% of health directors in the state say they've been threatened. Many are leaving their jobs.
We have lost staff, and they're incredibly wonderful people. And I don't blame them one bit for leaving.
So a bipartisan group of lawmakers has introduced a bill to offer better protections for healthcare workers.
It will allow public health officials to remove their public information from certain state websites.
House Bill 1107 also makes it a misdemeanor crime to post their information publicly as a threat. Supporters say this isn't about stifling free speech.
But we need these conversations to happen in the right place, at the right time, and on the record.
To be criticized was one thing, but to be threatened was, for many people, just really over the top.
The bill already passed unanimously out of one committee, but it still has a long way to go in the legislature. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
Alamo Drafthouse has filed for bankruptcy and will close some theaters. Like other chains, Alamo is dealing with diminished capacity, competition from streaming services, and a dearth of blockbusters that get people off their couch and into a theater. Denver 7 asked Alamo if Colorado's 3 locations will stay in business. Sloan's Lake appears safe. Westminster and Littleton haven't shown movies in months. Alamo could not say if they will do so again. 5-star businesses in Arapahoe, Denver, and Adams County can now operate in Level Blue. Small businesses will pretty much operate along the same guidelines. Larger restaurants and gyms, however, will see their capacity limits boosted by as many as 125 people. Thanks for watching this Denver 7 update. We're always on to bring you Colorado news and weather 24 hours a day with live breaking news as it happens. We'll be back with more news at 8 o'clock, but up next, it is The Rebound Colorado.